Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, or whatever time you're watching this. I much appreciate it. Welcome back to Socrates Jones, Pro Philosopher 2. I believe this is part 3? 4? Because tutorials 1, chapter 1's 2, chapter 2 is 3, so this is part 4, I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, let's get into it. We just got woken up by someone. Ariadne, oh no, what have these madmen done to you? This is our dad. Security, take this man away. Why are you here, bro? What's going on, Dad? Marcus, hold on, it's fine. Stop. Marcus, this is my dad, Socrates Jones. What are you doing here, man? You know, the one who told Pythia about the intelligible realm? Ah, you're alive. I was worried. I saw you when you passed out. When I saw you passed out, I was just sleeping. Your head was jammed between two computers. Her ability to sleep is anywhere is a bit unnerving. This is a top secret facility. How do you even find this? I already mentioned the bookcase, so I checked every bookcase in the whole school. Wow, that's just a lot. I knew a phone call wouldn't work. Your parents are impossible. Shut up, Jen. We're not friends. I see. Well, I suppose the damage is done. I'll call off security. Though I'd prefer not to have your entire family break into our lab. Why not? What are you hiding? And why do you have a lab under my school? Dad, I don't trust him. Anyone messing with other dimensions must have some devious plan. You know, he's not wrong. There's a plan, but it's Mom's plan. And I wouldn't call it devious. Well, she's a politician, so it's inherently devious. She wants the philosophers to publicly endorse her programs. I think she hopes it'll help her win. Really? All of this for a few votes? What are you going to do now? Well, unlike you, I don't have magical philosophy dreams. Pretty unfair if you ask me. But I came all the way down here. Might as well stick around. Jen and Marcus have been watching our debates through the portal. Then I'm definitely staying. Maybe I can help. How? No clue. I'll think of something. Shout out Dad. The only guy I'm not beefing with. Really mean it. I do not mean to question your political experience, Pythia Smith. You may have ample reason to be so steadfast in your approach, but the intelligible realm is not the Senate. Ariadne spent more time in this realm than any living being. If you wish to win philosophers to your side, why not follow her lead? I let her run the last two debates. Why not follow her lead less reluctantly? Yeah, listen to your daughter. Welcome back, Pumpkin. Still feeling unsure about our progress, huh? Well, you've been lovely, but the opposition... I thought they'd had problems before, and I think they have problems now. Okay, but their subpoints, the way they structured their arguments, you've gotten nothing out of any of it. I feel like I'm going to debate my mom at the end of this. I have a feeling it's leading up to that. Confucius was not entirely unpleasant. Whatever, I'll take it. I'll promise you more not entirely unpleasant debates in the future. Well, Pythia, the next philosopher will be here any moment. Fine. I can sit back and see how Adney handles herself. I won't let you down, I promise. I'll be honest, I doubt this will change anything. At the end of the day, I know what wins in the real world. But this isn't the real world. It'll be nice to get some representation of... Did somebody say representation? Who is this? Ah, here he is. Who the are you? Representation sure sounds nice if only you had some sort of participatory system instead of monarchies that were in place for so long. Oh wait, you do! Ho-ho! Thanks, me. Ariadne Jones, Pythia Smith, meet John Locke. I knew it was going to be one of this... I'm upset. Okay. The music is going crazy. Locke is one of the most influential Enlightenment philosophers and the father of liberalism. Ah, hey, Dad. When studying the evolution of political philosophy, his influence is undeniable. Forget John Adams, forget Thomas Jefferson, forget Alexander Hamilton. Their accomplishments were upon the foundation I built. You could say I founded the founding fathers. Unfortunately, he may have gone to his head a little. No kidding. Oh, poppycock. I'm allowed a little pride in my ideas. We'll look up when John Locke was born real quick. When did John Locke start kicking? John Locke. 1632. Died in 1704. So yeah, he would have been around for the, oh yeah, and he was born in the United States. Or, hold on. born in the United Kingdom, and he was not born in the United States. I saw United and my brain filled out the rest. And he died in the United Kingdom in 1704. So he would have been aware of, he was there for the Revolutionary War, I think, right? Or no, he wouldn't have been. Yeah, because it happened after, that stuff happened after 1776. But he was there for the start of the colonies, I think. So, I was somber all my life, permit me some levity in death. Well then, what are these ideas you're so proud of? I'm glad you asked. Let us commence. In the natural state, people are free and equal, none subordinate to any other. In this state, they have 3 inalienable rights: life, liberty, and property. However, people find they need authoritative power to protect these rights and punish violators. Thus, they form a social contract with the governing body. It's kind of got remnants of Thomas Hobbes. I think Hobbes was the social contract guy. Giving up freedoms in exchange for civil protection. Seeing how this idea is recognized by your own government, clearly you should accept it as true. The philosophy heard around the world. Government contract added to the idea slate. Interesting. That's it? Interesting. My, are we so cynical we cannot give credit where credit is due? You can call anything interesting. My philosophy was revolutionary. Har, har, har. Revolution. If I had known John Locke was next, I never would have seceded the lead. Unlike the last two, an endorsement from him would have been an honor. You shouldn't leave ideas unquestioned just because you find them appealing, Mom. I learned that lesson last time. Because Ari was like, kind of jiving with everybody. And her dad was like, hold on a second here. Maybe I don't fuck with this. It's going to be difficult to prove him wrong after all. Ow. What was that? Did someone throw this paper at me? I would never. There's writing on it? I thought of something. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Dad found the secret lab. You must have thrown that note. He must have thrown that note through the portal. Seriously? I can't believe he... Ow! If you don't want me breaking into your secret labs, maybe don't do secret things. Ugh, that man is... Okay then. Locke, let's see if your revolution holds up to scrutiny. My chair's creaking, I'm sorry. Not one to be distracted, I see. I like it. Alright, Miss Jones, scrutinize away. In the natural state, people are free and equal, none subordinate any other. In this state, they have 3... Okay, let's clarify. All humans possess the same natural rights. To subjugate another is an abomination. An abomination that has occurred over and over again. True, Fannin will never let me forget my own complicity there. But the fact that rights are often violated does not change that they are owed to all. True. Back that up. Back that as up. Every individual has the same essential human traits, the capacity for thought and the ability to make choices. These traits render us equal in the eyes of God, regardless of any other differences, or equal in the eyes of whatever you believe in. I won't be picky as long as someone recognizes our equal worth. I do. That is good enough for me. Okay. Natural state, people are free and equal. However, people find they need an authoritative power to protect these rights and punish violators. Once again, just setting up a government and laws and all that. While most individuals respect the rights of others, there are always outliers. In the natural state, there is no real way to deal with these outliers, so a way must be created. However, and back that up. Given our natural equality, just retribution can be difficult to manage. After all, if one pushes back on one who pushed them, what stops the now pushed pusher from pushing back harder? What? The person punished for the violation can respond by escalating violations. Indeed, a greater force is required to stop a cycle. The state will be this very force. Thus, they form a social contract with governing body, giving up freedoms in exchange for civil protection. What do you mean by this? The people enter an agreement with whatever governing body they have. They sacrifice some liberty and obtain security for life and property. That security protects the aggression of others from murder and theft. I'm gonna look it up. See, I think this was kind of what Thomas Hobbes was talking about. Hobbes beliefs was an English philosopher. Social contract. Hobbes believed that people could escape a state of fear and violence by entering a social contract with others to give up some of their freedom and accept essential authority. But he believed in absolute authority and the laws of nature and stuff. That security protects the aggression of others from murder or theft. Generally not things people want to experience. Back that up. I believe that my argument thus far has ample support. Natural rights must be protected. People have an inherent sense of this, so they'll form governments to gain such protection. Great. Seeing how this is recognized by your own government, you should accept this as true. I mean, I feel like I need to clarify. People acknowledge my brilliance, built in the national fabric. Your own mother endorses the principles. Why would you hesitate to do the same? How does this connect to the rest of the argument? How does this connect to the rest of your argument? The fact that the others believe not compelling evidence, you should accept this yourself? Yeah, let's nix this bit of ego stroking. Fine, but deep down you know I'm right. Irrelevant statement removed. Okay, got a statement. Busters challenge the connections of Locke's pompous posturing. Okay, hold on. Government contract. Locke defines governments as social agreements in which people are given up freedoms in exchange for security. Well, that's literally what he's saying here. People have freedom to define authority, power to protect these rights, punish violators. States, 3 inalienable rights: life, liberty, and property. Natural state: people free and equal, none subordinate to another. Well, I mean, I feel like this is a bad. How's this? Yeah, clarify this for me. Wait a minute, these freedoms should never be infringed upon. Okay, but are these freedoms more than words you'd put on bumper stickers? How would you actually define them? Right, of course. The right to life is simply that. People deserve to live fully and not be killed unjustly. Right to life, added the ideously. Right to liberty is the right to remain independent, unimpeded by others who would subjugate you. Right to liberty. And the right to property allows you to control the goods you obtain or create, as long as doing so leaves enough for others to survive. And thus the 3 natural rights were explained, and thus all was well across the land. Try not to lose the details with his big bard energy. We're gonna make a lot of D&D jokes here, I feel. Statement replaced with clarified statements. Okay. Clarify this, I mean... Kill another unjustly or deliberately inhibit the ability to survive is a violation of the natural rights to kill another unjustly. So there are times when killing could be justified. I'm afraid so. Someone who has killed many others is an obvious candidate in my view. But by default, life should be allowed to reach its full conclusion. And we'll just back that up. I feel like you believe that the world would be better if everyone was free to murder each other? Probably not. Well then, the statement stands. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. We got 2 more statements here. Also have a right to liberty, which means they must be able to self-determine without great restriction. Clarify this right any further. It's the right to self-ownership and self-determination. You are free to act for yourself with no other people imposing on you and telling you what you must be done. Yes. Clearly this philosophy is the best and everyone must believe in it. Okay, well hold on. Can't we challenge that here? Yeah, we can challenge that because you can't do what you want because there's a government. I like your idea of natural rights. The premise that there are rights all people are entitled to, so simply by being alive. It's a good one. Essential, even. Isn't it? I'm glad you recognize how foundational these ideas are. Foundational? Yeah, sure. But that's what's curious, Locke. If these rights are so essential, how can you make giving them up a key part of forming governments? Ah, so that's your approach. Very well, carry on. Life, liberty, property. Well, I feel like this argument's sort of a little weak, but obviously if you're just going to like get someone to explain their argument further and like try to make them shift their position a little bit, this is definitely a good way. Because really, like the answer here is right. We all must to make a functioning society. Sometimes you have to go against your best wishes or like what you desire or your best interest to make sure that the society as a whole doesn't go down. Sort of how like in the first game, we argued that about Thomas Hobbes' social contracts because he believed that humanity was naturally like a bitter like state of war, and we make social contracts so that we don't make each other suffer. But the best argument for that was that people do things out of their self-interest all the time, and this is once again people are giving up a bit of their self-interest, right, going against their self-interest so that everyone else can prosper from it, right? Life, liberty, property. You present these rights as fundamental and say governments must protect them. But if creating government requires sacrificing liberty, doesn't that mean the government itself would be in violation of natural rights? To deal with right violations, the government needs more power than the average person. So it means it could do far more damage than a single individual could. And if government listens to the Machiavelli, enforcing security through torture and fear, why all our rights could wind up falling to the government, not just liberty. Excellent point. This seems like a fundamental contradiction in your priorities, Locke. Governments actually escalate the potential for right violations. How can that possibly stand? You'd be better off with nothing at all. Well, he's going to bring up voting now. He's going to bring up democracy, right? Nonsense! Astute observation, my dear! It is certainly true that government could become a greater violator of natural rights than any individual. You've got me in a corner. If only I had taken this into account in my thoughts. Oh, wait! I did. I spat a little on my computer with that oh, wait. I'm gonna wipe it off real quick. Is he for real? Allow me to explain how the government's power should be limited. Checks and balances coming in. We love checks and balances in this household. Just wiping off my screen real quick from my spit take. Okay. I gotta clean my monitor. Unrelated to the spit thing. It's just a little dusty up top. Checks and balances. Government's only purpose is to secure rights of its citizens. The power of government must be exercised deliberately in service of these ends. Any use of political power that does not serve the needs of the citizens is therefore an abuse of power. When rulers become tyrannical, citizens have responsibility to take a stand. And there we go. Please contain your applause. Applause contained. Governmental limitations added to the idea slate. Hold on, none of this is mind-blowing. This is stuff I'd hope every government would believe. I suppose someone from your era might think so. But isn't it in itself impressive? I popularized the standard. Indeed, before Locke's second treatise on government, these ideas were far less widespread. If his work had not been published when it was, history might have looked very different. Sometimes, my dear, there is value in finding a way to explain and justify what should be obvious. Ain't that the damn truth? I deserve some appreciation for that, do I not? Okay, sure. Allow me to show you my appreciation then. With questions. The best way to appreciate. Government's only purpose is to secure the rights of its citizens. Clarify. The government must prevent the natural rights of citizens from being infringed upon. Back that up, baby. Supports the statement. This is clearly a statement of principles, is it not? The rest of my argument will explain why government should work this way. And then we got the power of the government must be exercised deliberately. Clarify. Due to the inherent power of the government, care must be taken to avoid the rights trampling you described. With great power comes great responsibility. Ah, yes, what a splendid, completely original turn of phrase. I'm glad I thought of it. Amazing. I guess back it. I mean, it's fairly obvious. I believe you yourself just presented a Machiavellian nightmare which illustrated the importance of this. Government has greater power than any individual, and that power is more prone to abuse. Thus, it must only be used in specific ways. Any use of political power that does not serve the needs of the citizens is therefore an abuse of power. Clarify. If the only job of the government was to support the will of the people, then anything else is an abuse of government by definition. I guess back it up. Let's say the government has access to some powerful technology capable of generating immense heat. It would be morally bound to use this technology to benefit the citizens, to warm those in dire need of warmth. If rulers instead use the technology to warm their own bread, they would be betraying the purpose of government. This would be a misuse of power, even if it does no other harm. Their job was to help others. Today, I learned toasters are an abomination. Not all toasters, my dear. Just selfishly used government toasters. When a ruler becomes tyrannical, citizens have responsibility to take a stand. Clarify. Stand, what does that actually mean? Protest in the cafeteria? Oh, no. Tyrants would never allow such supper time disruptions. Their only hope is to replace the corrupt regime with a new one. And how's that happen? Well, kings and queens are unlikely just to step down, so armed rebellion barricades. People must put their very lives on the line, otherwise the violations will continue. Statement updated. Cool. Tyrannical citizens must overthrow the ruler. Citizens must put their lives on the line to protect their natural rights. A nice, deadly revolt is the only way to check a ruler's power. Backing. We have established that natural rights are paramount, but when a ruler wishes to violate those rights, well, we have a problem. People must fight or else lose everything to that troublesome monarch. There's really no other way to dispose of a king or a queen. Hold on.
Nonsense!
Locke, you still believe the rights of life, liberty, and property are essential. Of course, that's why the government must limit itself in the way I described. Because I challenge this because, like, does not the king have a right to life himself as long as, if it doesn't, then the people must fight to overthrow it. So, in other words, in order for people to protect their rights of life, they must regularly endanger their lives. Rawr! That's not the argument path I thought he would take, but Locke, you need to get your principles locked. You built yourself into a system, yet another threat to natural rights. And to what end? Even after revolution, there's no guarantee the new government will be any better. You could easily get caught in a perpetual cycle of tyranny and revolution. Oh look, the government is corrupt. Let's overthrow it. We won! Yeah, but half of us are dead. Oh no! The government is corrupt! Again! We won! Again! Or maybe we lost. Doesn't matter. Another half of us are dead. I've seen Les Mis. I know how rebellions work. So now, what, you're 3/4 deceased? Actual percentages, I'm using don't matter arbiter. The point is, while revolution is definitely needed sometimes, constant revolution is unsustainable. The cost of life is simply too great. How many empty chairs at empty tables are too many? People can only sing the song of angry men so many times before they get a sore throat. Or are all dead. Yes, or are all dead. Locke, there has to be a better way to keep the government in check. To protect the lives of the people. But until you find one, our natural rights are always in danger. Here comes the nonsense. Or maybe not. Guess that's something for a bit. Though he's being really theatrical about it. Ouch. Dad! So proud of you, Ari. You're doing such a good job. You really take after your old man. Does it have to be 3 separate planes? I'm the one who taught you how to do this last time we were here, Dad. You took after me. Couldn't you have written that all in one note instead of wasting... Hey! I wanted to feel like victory confetti for her victory. My victory. Is it really possible we've stopped them? We'll see. We'll see. Aren't you a fan of this guy? Have the problems I've pointed out cause you, I don't know, reflect? Adney, Locke hasn't even gotten to the part of his philosophy that matters most. He still needs to introduce...
Nonsense!
A system allowing leaders to be replaced without violent revolution, eh? That has the consent of the governance built in? Of the governed built in. I know just the system. Democracy! I was literally about to say, he is yet to introduce democracy. I was going to say in that same tone of phrase, too. That. Oh, right. Of course. Behold, I shall solve every problem you have ever imagined. As the consent of the governed only legitimate basis of power must be built into the structure of the government itself. Democracy creates the natural mechanisms for public to check the power of the ruler through regular votes. When people go to the polls, they have the chance to make their desires known. They can assess the effectiveness of the government from its performance over the last few years. If the government has strayed too far from these desires, the people can always vote the leaders out of power. So, the perfect system finally manifests. I'll admit you threw me there for a moment, but the answer was so obvious. I'm actually surprised it took this long to be presented with democracy. And in retrospect, I really should have seen it coming. Everything about our system that works, that allows me to do what I want to do, the foundation for our version of democracy was laid here. I love these ideals even before I got into politics. You had excellent taste. As for you, Miss Jones, Mr. Jones, I'm afraid your celebration was premature. Sorry, I had to say that like a villain. It's good to be cautious before claiming victory. Not all is immediately apparent. That's why it took me centuries to appreciate the full extent of my brilliance. Oh, really? You see, there is true good and false good. False good creates short-term, fleeting benefits, neither real nor lasting. Miss Jones's triumph is a fine example. True good, however, can only be seen in the long view. Requires assessment and perspective. I can only be sure my philosophy was true good over time. That was actually an interesting tangent. True good has been added to the idea slate. Well then, Locke, give me a moment and I'll find a critique that qualifies as true good. That's the spirit, of course you'll fail. But at least your heart's in the right place. Okay. Behold, okay, can we... How's this connected to the rest of the argument? Illustrates my brilliance, setting you up to be suitably impressed. More than anything, it illustrates how big your head has gotten. This grandstanding isn't valuable, Locke. It's empty posturing. Ariadne is correct. Let's declutter this argument, shall we? Relevant statement removed. Consent of the government is only legitimate on the basis... Okay, clarify. Only way to ensure the consent of the government is to make a requirement. Design a system that cannot function without that consent. Just back that up. This is the natural conclusion to reach after your objections. My previous systems had consent of the government assumed, but that demanded a revolution to make discontent known. In order to address this, our system must actively seek and reaffirm consent. It is too important to leave implicit. Okay. Democracy creates a natural mechanism for the public to check the power of the ruler through regular votes. Clarify. In democratic system, there are ways for the people to assert power over the ruler and not just vice versa. Back it up. I know what democracy is, but for the sake of the mechanics. Every time people vote, they willingly participate in the government. Furthermore, they provide their opinion on key matters of state. Thus, the voting process allows the people to assert power. When people go to the polls, they have the chance to make their desires known. Any democracy, people will vote to express their desires. If they voted against their desires, they would be demo-crazy. My jokes are very funny. Yep. I guess back that up. I mean, it doesn't really... Voting gives the people the opportunity to choose between several options. When given such a choice, most gravitate to the option aligned with their preferences. I got my ballot right here. I gotta go turn it in today. Voters literally put their desires on paper. How could it get more concrete than that? They could carve their desires into actual concrete. I suppose they could. That might make the process quite cumbersome, however. Okay. They can assess the effectiveness of the government from its performance based over the last few years. People make decisions for the future based on the states of things in the immediate present and past. Let's back that up. The most natural way to assess the quality of rulers is the outcome of their rule. Things are going well, with bounty for all, voters will wish to stay the course. Things are going poorly, well, they will throw the captain overboard. Did this just become pirate law? Democracy did have traction with early privateers. Indeed, that's why the only thing they ever pillaged was our hearts. Pretty sure that's extremely untrue and also entirely irrelevant. If the government has stayed too far from its desires, people can always vote the leaders out of power. I mean, this is already... Leader who abuses aliens will never receive their votes. Such a flawed leader will never lose the one promising what the people want. But what if the old leader refuses to leave office? I wonder what happened there. I wonder when... God, surely this isn't making a commentary about anything happening now. Well, then you no longer have democracy, and we are back to the second argument. People once rebelled to re-establish one. But a well-constructed democracy has measures in place to prevent this. Other branches of government incentivized to keep the elections true. Okay. Let's check our ideal slate, shall we? Right to life, right to liberty, right to property come from true good. Locke believes that all truly good decisions require a focus on long-term results over short-term results. Hold on. I'm thinking. Do you think I could challenge this performance of the last few years with true good? Require a focus on long-term results over short-term results? I think I can. Okay, Locke, I gotta concede you were right earlier. I got caught up in my present success and missed future complications. Put me in a bad situation. Your lecture was justified. I appreciate your appreciation, Miss Jones. One must always keep in mind true good can only be seen in the long view. True good, right. But you know what? That lecture was just what I need to put a chink in your polished armor. Because the democratic system you described struggles for exactly that reason. What? Impossible. Democracy is a shining, flawless beacon to the world. I have a thought experiment for you, Locke. Let's say a country has a problem with tomatoes. Tomatoes? No. Yep, some amount of tomatoes are coming alive and killing people. That's horrible. Can tomatoes do that? My, how the world has changed in 2,000 years. No, it's just a goofy example, but it'll do. Killer tomatoes are terrible for approval ratings. They have to be dealt with quickly. So in the moment, a leader might just decide to destroy the tomato supply. And hey, crisis would be over, political victory achieved. But take the long view and see how such a plan would sour. Famine, the loss of all jobs dependent on tomatoes, the lingering guilt of a species massacred, and the tragic end of ketchup. The people love ketchup. Well then, clearly a leader shouldn't enact such a drastic plan. And be accused of going soft on killer tomatoes or of ignoring them entirely? It's an election year after all. Can they afford to wait? Duh. Here's the rub, Locke. True good is not politically good. Regular elections naturally favor immediate results. Voters decide based on how things are rather than how things will be. But sometimes the best plans take time to pay off. And sometimes the worst plans seem to be good at first. And often, good and bad things happen for complex reasons outside of a leader's control. But there's a reason politicians often ignore that truth, focusing on manipulating emotions and public opinion. Where's the room for long-term thinking when the short term is all you have?
Nonsense!
Ha, good attempt, but you'll see it has no sway. Let's resolve this with a vote. Who here thinks my democracy is perfect? There must be some mistake. Arbiter? I was executed by a democracy. Ariadne? Seriously? I just told you why it's flawed. But Pythia? I don't believe it. My perfect philosophy. Oh, Could it truly be less than perfect? I'm afraid so, Locke. It's not that democracy is a terrible system. It obviously isn't. But nothing is perfect, and democracy has its own problems, which are often ignored. You've once again impressed me, Ariadne Jones. We all have much to reflect on. Come along, Locke. Now, please. Very well. Oh. So, is this what you were talking about at the start? Problems you don't know how to fix? Yeah, one of them. We have a lot of long-term issues people deny or downplay because their effects are not obvious. And that's how you see me. Someone who only cares about short-term victories. It's not at all I see, but it's harder and harder to reconcile this with who she used to be. Flashback time. Yippee! I don't know if I can get it, Mom. It's just too much. Don't worry about getting it, Pumpkin. Just try to understand a little more than yesterday. Break her reasoning down into smaller chunks. Why does she believe what she believes? It's been difficult watching you here, Mom. You were the one who taught me how to reason, how to get to the truth by asking questions, but as far as I can tell, you've become determined to shut down any idea that isn't your own. So that's why you're always too busy studying when it's time to canvass. Listen, Andy, there are a lot of ideals that are nice in theory, but don't work in the real world. I'm sorry you don't approve, but I had to change, to adapt, so I could do the good I wanted to do. And have you done what you wanted to do? No. I've done my best, but perhaps Dad, I really hope this is going to say something constructive because you can still stop, Pythia. I could stop? You still think I should just give up? Well, I'm sure Dad didn't mean... Okay, listen up, Socrates. You already apologized for this once, but you really want to go there again? You may be content to crunch numbers and absorb the data others leave behind, but some of us want to make a difference. I got into politics to change the world. Sure, I'm not flawless, but I'm trying, and I haven't given up. I won't ever give up. You stand on the sidelines tossing these stupid, useless observations into the void. Mom! No, you know what? I shouldn't have doubted myself. I'm not the problem with democracy, Pumpkin. People like Socrates are the problem with democracy. Little, willingly uninformed pea shooters who criticize instead of actually doing anything. Jesus. Well, Socrates, do you have anything to say for yourself? I'm gonna go check on him. Jesus! Jesus Louises! What an ending! That is going to bring us to the end of this video. We argued with John Locke, the father of democracy. The founder of the Founding Fathers. Sort of. And we argued the morality of democracy. Which is, probably the best government that can exist in reality. But obviously, it has its flaws. And we found some of those flaws. Indeed, there will never be a truly good system in democracy when it comes to voting, because once again it's hard to see long-term results when you're only going for the short term, because although the president is the most powerful man in the world, doesn't matter how powerful you are if you only got 4 to 8 years to do stuff, and there's a million things that need to be done. But that is going to be it for this video. If you made this far in the video, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, or don't. I'm not your mother, but you better brush your teeth. Now have a good one. Bye bye.